Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. My xterra has done struck again. I'm telling you, my fucking vehicle is in love with my pocketbook. I think that was the biggest mistake I ever made, buying that xterra. I've done nothing but put money in it. The money I thought I was going to put in a payment, I'm putting in parts. So I'm doing both. I'm putting them in parts and payment. So yeah, one day it'll all be over, but will I be able to eat by then? Anyway, I've got the alternator off of it. What it was doing, it would the battery light and the brake light would come on, and it'd stay on. Well, the other day I went to Harbor Freight to pick up something. I don't remember what the hell it was now, and welding rods so I could finish that trailer. And when I got out in the parking lot, it wouldn't start. So I went out and jiggled the battery terminals a little bit, and I did see that the power, or the red one, was loose. I guess I need to get new terminals too. And it wouldn't start. So I got it started finally, and the battery light and the brake light continued to stay on. Well, the other day, yesterday, Terry come by to pick up the trailer, and I had to move the xterra, and the light was out. Alright, the light was out, and then I got in it this morning, they were both on again. So I went up to O'Reilly's and had him test the alternator, and right off the bat he said it was bad. Well, on the way home, the brake light and the battery light went out. Hasn't been on since. I stopped, I restarted it, pulled it up here to the house, parked it, the light was still out. So I don't know what's going on with it. So the only thing I can think of is maybe the brushes. If it was a diode, it would be all the time. So we've got three components. We got the regulator, we got the diode, and we got the brushes. And we can eliminate the diode as being the problem, because if it was a diode, it would not be intermittent. Like Crafted said, that's like blowing a fuse. You either have power or you don't have power. So for it to come in intermittently, that would tell me that I ain't got to worry about the diode. Well, that leaves the regulator and the brushes. So we're getting ready to take this apart and see if maybe I can fix this one. And if worse comes to worse, it's $64 for a new one on eBay. I'm already prepared to have to try to find a way to get one. But if at all possible what I do here works, then I've saved myself $64. If not, I still got to get the alternator. So I'm already prepared for it. So all I'm doing is just trying to get myself so I don't have to be prepared for it. So we're going to dive into this thing and take it apart. Now, I've never taken one of these apart, and I'm probably going to do it wrong, and you guys are probably going to scream at the screen at me, but you know, I've never taken one of these apart. I've taken one of the old ones, like the old Ford ones, that didn't have your regulator in it. So hope I don't have to pull a pulley off of this thing. If I do, no big deal. Just have to start the air compressor and get that nut off. So let me put you down here and we'll look at it. Having my tea today. I'm all Trump coffee'd out. Alright, I've already pre-loosened these screws, so I wouldn't have had to fumble with them while you guys was watching. You know what, I probably ought to go ahead and take that damn pulley off. So let me go ahead and pull that off and we'll be back. Alright, we got the pulley off, and now we can go ahead and take these bolts off. kind of hoping everything is mounted to the inside of this, and from the looks of it, it's got nuts on it, so I would imagine it does. So this should just separate the bearing from the armature, we hope. You can bet I'm going to clean this bad boy up with some gasoline, make it look new again, at least. If nothing else, at least it looks new. Alright, so now I'm going to get me a hammer. A little one, you don't want a huge one, just kind of tap it. Well, we got all the bolts out of it, so I don't know why it's not coming apart. Let's try this side. Yeah, I can't see that it's even trying to come off. I was trying to do something, but I hope it ain't doing the wrong thing. That don't look right. Well, I can already tell you what I think the problem is. You see that one in there? It's sprung down. That should be stuck out like the back one. Right there. You see that one there? That's the back one. See how it's spring loaded? This one here is not. So right there's the problem. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to get all this out of here. And get this cleaned up. Now we just got to figure out how we're going to get it out. Because I believe this here's got to come off once I take these bolts here out. But we'll see. Who knows, maybe I done destroyed it. Let's hope. Yep, how about this one? Yep. Alright, so now I learned something. Yeah, I knew when you pound on those things you're not doing a good job. Alright. This one we can't make a mistake on. That one I don't know if we can or not. No, because one of these here matches up. So, okay, so that'll work. I'm just spraying penetrating oil down in there. We're going to try to just loosen them up. See, it popped loose finally. So we're just going to keep working those. I'm just going to keep working that until it's nice and loose. But that's what it was. One of them brushes was stuck. So now it's working really good. I'm going to clean it out with some penetrating oil. Get us an old nasty towel that we don't care about. This one used to be one of my best. When they become not my best, they start becoming my worst. So we're going to put that down there and we're going to flush that out with penetrating oil. And then we're going to take our air hose And we're just going to blow all that back out of there because you don't want any of that making a contact. Alright, they are both working really good. Now we get to get us some of that old gas. You all remember that stuff? And we're going to clean this bad boy up a little bit before we get putting it back together. So let me go get my gas and we'll get started on that. Alright, so now we've got the parts cleaned up the best that I'm going to do because I really don't care. You can't see it. Now if it was in my truck it'd be a whole different story. But the next thing we're going to do is we're either going to use this or we're going to use this paper here, which is probably about a 1500. Yeah, 1500. And we're going to clean up them brass contactors. I was going to use the steel wool, but I don't want any chance of something being magnetic and it or collect all the frickin' steel wool. Probably wouldn't hurt to actually check that bearing, but I really didn't want to have to take that thing apart. You know what, that bearing is just fine. That one is too. So what we're going to do is, to start off with, we're going to go ahead and put this back in. So we'll take these screws back out. Alright. Then we're going to take all this out. And remember, don't forget to put that back on there if you took it off. So now we're going to put that on there. Now before we do this, I want to show you something. Right here where these brushes are. You see that little hole right there? Well, that hole's there for a purpose. Also, there's a hole right here. You see that hole? These two holes will line up with each other. So what you do, once you've got this put back together, you know what, I'm going to go clean this out right here first because that's filled up with rust and it's going to keep that from going down on the side of that, and I'm going to do this the same way. I'll be right back. Alright, so what I did, I went over and cleaned all this out with a wire wheel. There's still a little bit of stuff in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a knife and we're just going to kind of go across around this and just clean all that stuff out of there. Any big lumps, like right there. Alright, that assures that this here all goes together, because I cleaned this also all the way around here. So now we put our ring back on there, our rubber ring, which goes on this hole right here. Alright, now remember to keep that in place. You don't want to lose that. So you put that on there. And if you notice on here, this has a hole right there. See that little hole? There's a hole right there. Well, you also have a hole right here in this. Now what that's for is to hold these brushes back while you put the armature in. Once you've got the armature in place, then you just pull that pin up out of there. So we'll show you how that works. So now we put this back together. Now this here has got a little ear on one side of it that sticks out further. So there's no way of getting that wrong. So you put that down in that hole. And then we're going to tighten these up. But we're going to tighten them across from each other, just like you would a wheel pattern. Just crisscross from side to side. Alright, so now we've got this spring loaded really good. They're not stuck no more. That one was really stuck. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find this paper clip. So now we've got a paper clip here, and we're just going to straighten that out just like so. Then we're going to find our hole here. And we're going to go in here and we're going to press on these. And you're going to want to use a pair of these. This one here is grounded off because I had to use it for something else. And I hated to have to grind that off like that, but I did. But anyway, we want to get this pin in here. Alright. And get it to where it's touching the brush. And then we're going to go in on the very bottom one, the one closest to the bearing, and we're going to push that in while we push up on these. Alright, so now we got those up. Now we have no way of knowing if this thing's going to actually pop out. So we're living on a prayer. Alright, so now we pull that out. I heard both of them spring and hit. So cool. Alright. So now line these up and put it back together. Alright. Now I shouldn't have a problem with this. It's gotten dark on me right now, so I'm not able to put this on right now. So tomorrow we'll put this on and see how it works. But I would venture to say that there ain't nothing wrong with this alternator now, because we've seen that there was an obvious problem, that the that one brush was stuck up in there and wasn't hitting but very, very seldom. So I'm pretty certain that we have fixed this problem, and the next thing we do is install it. So that is how you fix a stuck brush in your alternator. It was apparent that that was the problem. I am so confident that this is going to work. It's just a no-brainer. Unless this thing's got two problems at the same identical time, I would venture to say that's not the case. Because if it's working one time and not working another time, then that's intermittent. That means that because that thing was sticking, it was not getting a good enough contact to actually throw the current through it. So, I mean, that commutator and the brush, if they're not connected, that's exactly the same thing as taking a piece of wire and doing this to it. That's exactly what you're doing. So all that is just a wire. It's just in a different form. So I hope this is informative and helps somebody to know how to take one of these alternators apart and put it back together and fix an obvious problem, which in this case was the brushes. So if it doesn't work, you'll know in the next video, so stay tuned. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. If you want to help the shop out, you can do so with PayPal through bisonworkshop@gmail.com. You guys have a good one. Later.